Hello everyone. My name is Crystal and I represent All Hands On. I wanted to share something with you. It's a special document that will help deaf and hard of hearing people to communicate more readily with doctors and first responders. The form can be found at this link. This form has quite a bit of information on it and can be intimidating, but I'm going to break it down for you. For example, if you have any kind of minor injuries that you may not need to go to the hospital for, you may be able to just contact your doctor's office or take care of it at home yourself. This form is really for two purposes. First, if you have any kind of serious injury or need where you might need to go to a hospital, this will expedite your process within the hospital so that they know what your chief complaint is and how to handle it. You might be waiting for an interpreter to arrive, but in the meantime, you can be using this form in order for medical personnel to know how to proceed. If you're seriously injured, definitely call 911. While you're waiting on 911 or the ambulance to arrive, you can have this form ready just to give the EMTs basic information on what's going on. I want to go into detail a bit about the information on the form. You need to keep it in a place where you can definitely make it confidential. You want to have the form readily available when you need it. Next, one of these forms within your car, perhaps inside your home, and that way you'll have it ready. In an emergency, whenever you call 911, it's nice to have it ready to go. Be aware that medical personnel and doctors may ask if you have any allergies. Often we think of that relating to nasal allergies or seasonal allergies. But in reality, what they mean by that is if you've had any kind of severe reaction to a medication. Maybe you're having difficulty breathing. Perhaps you've got a red rash or hives. You have been dizzy or had a lack of consciousness. Another way that can be manifested is once you've had an injection. A common allergy is to penicillin. That again can create hives. Either one of these can be representative of an allergy to a medication. Make sure that you have documented all of the medications that you are taking, any prescriptions on hand. Here it says if you've stopped breathing, especially if you're not a smoker or you're having difficulty breathing, you need to call 911. Once the ambulance arrives, you can show them that you checked this box off. Choking. Typically that means that someone has swallowed something, but it didn't go down all the way, and they cannot spit it out either. Any kind of head injury. That can be from a blow to the head, whether it's causing dizziness or if they've become unconscious. Any kind of injury to the neck or to the spine. That could be from rigorous movement to the neck or the back, any kind of injury related to that. Sometimes, if your neck is moved the wrong way, or if your spine is hurting, then it can cause numbness in your fingertips and your extremities. The blood flow is limited to those parts of your body, to your toes and to your fingertips. So it would definitely be important to document that. Also, if you can't move your arms or your legs, any kind of paralysis, that would be a serious injury that you need to check off. Electric shock or lightning strike. That would be a severe injury that needs to be documented. A severe burn. Really, it would be best if you describe the location of the burn, as well as what caused it, whether it be chemical from a hot liquid or a fire, any kind of explosive. Make sure to put that on the form as well. Severe chest pain or feeling pressure on your chest. That could be a pulmonary embolism, and that is a serious issue that needs to be addressed. If you're struggling to breathe and it seemingly is getting worse, that would be a box you would need to check. A seizure, especially if a person is seizing and it lasts for 3 to 5 minutes, that would be something that needs to get checked off. So this particular section of the form is for true emergencies where you would need to call 911 immediately and have the form ready for the EMTs once they arrive and for the hospital once you arrive there. The second portion of this form is for severe injuries, but you may have enough time to drive yourself to the emergency room. Let me go into detail on some of these. Let's say that you arrive at the hospital. You'll have this form ready to go so that the emergency room can already see what your issues are, and it'll speed up the communication with them. If you have stopped breathing or any kind of shortness of breath, that's the medical term for it. It may feel like your chest is tight, like you're struggling to breathe or just to get a breath in. It could feel pressurized or painful. That can be something serious and you would want to check off that box. Also, if you pass out, especially repeatedly, that would be something you would want to mark. If you have any kind of pain on your arm or your jaw, especially that's prolonged, that would be something you would need to document. You also need to let us know if it's been for 1 day, a short period of time, a few days. That would definitely be something to document. If you have an unusual or bad headache, particularly if it started suddenly, recognize that sometimes Advil or other types of medications that are over the counter like Tylenol or aspirin may do the trick. That should alleviate normal headache pain. This type of pain, however, is much more severe and prolonged. After you've attempted to take medicine to remedy the problem and your head still is in tremendous amount of pain, that would be severe and something you should document. You also should let people know how long the headache has lasted. If you suddenly cannot speak, or see, or walk, or move, perhaps you have paralysis in your arm, or your leg, or your having difficulty trying to lift things, you're confused or dizzy. If you're feeling any kind of weakness or paralysis on one side of your body, drooping on one side of your body, please make sure to put that down on the page as well as when that started. If when you stand up you feel dizzy or weak and it doesn't go away immediately and it just feels abnormal, check that box off so that the hospital knows how long that problem has been going on. When did it first start? If you've inhaled any kind of smoke, or potentially you were walking in a garage or in a specific area and you inhaled some sort of chemical fumes or poisonous fumes, it could be that you have inhalation poisoning. It's possible that you've inhaled some kind of a dangerous chemical. If you have any kind of sudden confusion, what that could look like is that you're not sure what's going on, or very often you might go into a room, get up to go get something, and then forgot what you went in while you were in there. It's not that kind of situation. It's more so if you have prolonged confusion where you're not even sure where you are, what day it is, what's been going on throughout the day, how you got somewhere. In that particular case, that would be what they're labeling as confusion here. If you have any kind of severe bleeding, what that can look like is if you have a severe laceration and it's bleeding profusely. It could be anywhere on your body, and it could be bleeding onto your clothes. It could be bleeding onto the floor. That could mean an arterial bleed. If you potentially broke a bone, you see something within your arm or your leg that doesn't look right. You may even see the bone protruding through your skin. It could be that you have a broken bone. If you have any kind of deep wound, something that has gone through or pierced through your skin, document where you've been pierced and what the object is that pierced you. If you have a severe burn, for example, if you've been burned by oil while cooking, or if your skin becomes dark black from the burn, if you have any kind of coughing or throwing up of blood, let the hospital know how many times that's happened and for how long. If you have severe pain anywhere on your body, it could be on your head, your arms, anywhere really, where you have a difficult time moving any of your joints and it's not resolving itself even with medication. If the pain persists, tell them where the pain is located. If you're having a severe allergic reaction, it's the same concept as what we spoke of earlier with the allergies to medications. Like something that has happened from when you've eaten. Perhaps you've had a rash or hives that have broken out from that. That could be an allergic reaction, or if it's caused you to cough for a prolonged amount of time. Make sure to let them know how long that reaction has been happening. If you have a high fever, in addition to also having a stiff neck and a headache, If the fever has been prolonged and no medication has been able to bring it down, check that box as well. If you've had profuse vomiting, by that we don't mean you vomited 1 or 2 times, but in this case that it's something that has been severe and over the course of a few days, that would definitely be something to notify the hospital of. Also, if you have any kind of loose stool and it's been nonstop for hours or days, that would be something you would document. If you have poisoning or if you've overdosed on a drug or even alcohol, perhaps you've taken too high of a dosage of medication, let the hospital know that immediately. It could have been an accidental overdose. If you're having any kind of suicidal thoughts, if you're having issues with your mental health where you're just feeling like you want to die or to kill yourself, that you're just done with life and you want to give up, you need to notify someone, get in contact with a hospital, and definitely protect yourself. Mental health is vital. Make sure to check that box. Again, if you have any kind of seizures that are for long periods of time, document that here. Let them know the frequency. And lastly, on the bottom, if there's anything else that you can think of that the medical professionals or staff should know, put that down on this document. Perhaps you know your blood type, that you're A negative or B positive, that you're type O. That would be important information for the staff to know. If you're diabetic, or if you have issues with blood pressure, perhaps you have family history that you think would apply to your situation. These would be good things to show the doctors and the medical professionals. Make sure that the hospital calls someone qualified, an interpreter who really is able to understand you and to communicate clearly. They may be able to contact an agency or a freelance interpreter. You can even make recommendations to the hospital staff and put phone numbers and names down on the document for them to contact. They may be unaware of where to even start. If you have a business card handy of people who you trust, that may be something that you pass off to the hospital staff, show them, and then they can contact the interpreters to come and work with you. This will help the hospital staff to understand that accessibility is a crucial component to healthcare. We hope that this medical form assists you in being able to stay safe and being able to get accurate accommodations and help. Remember, calling 911 is crucial in these times, and this form will help you to communicate better with the EMTs or with the hospital. Thank you so much for watching, and stay safe.